Even though there still may be a trigger that happens in a response emotionally, the brain doesn't go into activity, and neither does the foundational core. It's not mandatory that everybody does Earthpoint, but we know that if you do Earthpoint, it makes the other part of our work so much more effective, and also accelerates the capability of pause, the stillness and taking a moment, and the practice of out-breath. Steve, is there something you'd like to add to that?
Ditto. all of the above. The mind is a beautiful tool, and it's a shocking master when it takes control, takes charge, takes over. It operates at really quite slow speeds, but it operates brilliantly when it has the proper task given to it to do, which is after the creation is done, after it's decided what is needed. And then it's like, okay, left brain, there's a task here that's brilliantly in your field. You go do that, but not in taking over and taking charge. And that's been my experience probably throughout my life, in my career in accounting, which is very left brain dominated. It's easy to override the parts that matter most. Real easy. They do pop up anyway, but it's a slow process for that if you let the left brain continue to take charge. So yeah, ditto to all that Jill said. It works. It helps keep you in the calm or back to the calm really fast without efforting it, without making it happen. You don't have to force it. You don't have to stop, and you don't have to pull out a sheet and say, now take step one. Have I done step one properly? Step two, step three, and it's like, throw the sheet out the window. Just be there. Earthpoint takes you there. It takes you there in an instant. And that's been my experience. And for me, trying to figure it out was the greatest roadblock that I had until I stopped trying to figure it out. And at that time, it was really good, because at that time it made sense. Things begin to make sense without trying to make sense. So a lot of the things that Julie says, and she says over and over and over again, sometimes it took many times of saying before they actually went in. And when I say went in, I mean went into the being, not went into the head. That was what got in the way. The times I kind of think I wish I could have, unscrewed the head, plopped it on the side and said, now, Julie, speak. I'll hear you. Head's still attached. It never got taken off. It's having the trust that it will happen. In the words of the ad for hair shampoo, it may not happen overnight. It will happen. And with all of it, there's no right or wrong. There's no saying, look, I should have got this a week ago, or I should get this within the next 2 weeks. And it's like, well, no, it happens as and when it happens. And this is my personal experience, and I've seen it in others, in mentoring as well. And that's what's beautiful, because when it happens, there is no thinking around the whole thing. There's no putting it into boxes. There's none of that. You just go, and in the out breath, I get it. And it takes the time it takes, or it took the time it took for me to stop running around in my head. I don't know if you've ever seen that image of inside a person's head, and there's the mouse wheel, and the mouse is running around and around and around, going nowhere. When I stopped running around inside my head, and it happened more quickly for me. And I'm very comfortable with the fact that it didn't happen overnight, because it didn't. There was nothing wrong with me. There was no wrongness about it. It's not, you spent all this time with Julie and you're still not quite there yet. It's like, no, it happened as it happened. It unfolded as it unfolded. I received as I received. And if that was a little bit or a big bit, there was no measurement with it. I just received whatever I was available to receive that came through in that moment. And I'm really grateful for that, because we're not machines that you shove in a program card and great, we've got it all. We're divine beings having this awesome ability to create once we get ourselves out of the way. And more importantly, to co-create. So there is no need for ownership, personal ownership of it. Yeah, that's been continues to be my experience. I'll share with you my experience of doing the Earthpoint this afternoon. For me, I found something a little bit new, in that when I sense the field going out, however far or however close it is, I always sensed it as being quite thin as an energy field. It's just sort of raying out. But today I found there was a depth to it that I hadn't really, I hadn't seen before or experienced before. And I suppose the easiest way for me to say it is, you know, the Northern Lights, the Aurora Borealis, and they have a lot of depth and color moving. It was that kind of depth, I don't know, 2-3 meters deep, you know, quite, yeah. For me, it went out through the city where I am, which is Toowoomba, very comfortably out. I didn't get to any pushback at all or anything like that. If we'd had longer, I would have seen how much further out it would have gone. But at the end of it, when Jules asked us, what did you get? What wants to be spoken now? What do you hear? What I heard was from deep down inside me was light. And the light was saying, I'm always here. How often do you want to connect? And my sense around that was that light, very powerful, very illuminating, very willing, and equally willing to be where it is if I'm not willing to connect. It doesn't have a problem with that. It just won't connect with me if I'm not willing to go there. And when I am, it's willing to be absolutely there for me. So that was my experience of Earthpoint today.